The Land of Stories, The Wishing Spell by Chris Colfer. They still needed convincing. Connor turned to Alex for help. Alex, do you have any rubber bands on you? Connor asked. I may have some hair ties in my bag, Alex said. She put her bag on the floor and searched through it, accidentally knocking the glass slipper out onto the floor. The clank echoed through the throne room. The twins panicked. It was as if time had frozen. Sleeping Beauty, her husband, and the advisor grew very tense. How did you get that? Sleeping Beauty asked. It's Queen Cinderella's glass slipper, the advisor said. No, it's not what you think, Alex said, quickly putting it back into her bag. We didn't steal it, Connor said. Guards! King Chase shouted. A few guards from behind the twins suddenly awoke and became alert. Seize them! The king shouted. Here we go again, Connor said as the guards sprinted toward them. He grabbed Alex's wrist and pulled her into a run. Your Majesty, Alex pleaded to Sleeping Beauty. We've come to borrow your spindle. We're collecting objects for the wishing spell. Sleeping Beauty stood, about to speak, but the twins couldn't wait to hear what she had to say. They were running around the throne room in circles, barely missing the extended hands of guards trying to grab hold of them. Alex and Connor ran through a set of open doors leading out of the throne room. They had no idea where they were going, but they knew they had to move. They had been through too much to let the guards catch them this time. I'm so tired of being chased, Connor yelled. They ran down hallway after hallway, making sharp turns wherever they could to throw off the guards. They were moving so fast that the beautiful architecture and artwork of the castle was nothing but a blur. Suddenly, the hallway they were in came to a dead end. Now what are we going to do? Alex asked. Quick, in here, Connor said, and pulled her through the closest set of open doors. They found a stone staircase on the other side and ran up it. It spiraled higher and higher, and the twins wondered if it would ever end. They were climbing to an impossible height. They must have been headed to the tallest tower in the castle. They reached the very top of the stairs and found a big black door. They rushed through it and immediately locked it from the other side. Now where are we? Connor asked and looked around. The twins were standing in a large circular room with tall windows. There were violet drapes and a lavender rug. A balcony wrapped around the entire room outside. Only 2 pieces of furniture were in the room, an enormous bed and a spinning wheel made from dark wood. Connor, Alex said softly, I think we're in Sleeping Beauty's room, the room she slept in for 100 years. Connor walked over to the bed. There was a beautiful engraving on the headboard that said, For 100 years she slept, the hearts of her people she kept, so they awaited with patience for the bliss of true love and true love's first kiss. Alex went to the spinning wheel, but the spindle was gone. The spindle isn't here, Alex said. I don't understand. The man who wrote the journal promised Sleeping Beauty he would return it after he used it. Is it not here, or did he just not return it because the spell didn't work? Connor asked. The lock on the door began to rattle as someone from the other side unlocked it. Hide, Alex whispered. She and her brother dove underneath the bed. The black door swung open. The twins expected to see the clunky boots of the guards, but instead, they saw a pair of pink heels. Is that? Alex whispered. Is that what? Ouch! Connor hit his head hard on the bottom of the bed. You can come out of there, Sleeping Beauty said. The twins couldn't tell if it was a trap. I've called off the gods, Sleeping Beauty added. No one is going to hurt you. The twins slowly crawled out from under the bed. We didn't steal the slipper, Alex said. It's hard to explain, but I promise we're not thieves. Sleeping Beauty nodded. I believe you. You do? Connor asked. He was stunned. Because if I were you, I'd totally think we were thieves. Sleeping Beauty smiled at them and took a seat on the bed. So, you two are after the wishing spell. The twins nodded self-consciously. It's a really long story, Connor said. I'm sure, Sleeping Beauty said. And you've come to ask me permission to borrow the spindle from my spinning wheel, haven't you? The twins guiltily nodded again. Sleeping Beauty laughed to herself. Ha ha ha. You know, not too long ago, a man came to my castle and asked me to borrow it, she said. At first, I was completely against the idea, but he convinced me. How'd he manage that? Alex asked. He told me all about the wishing spell and how he had traveled to another world and fallen in love and was desperate to return. And being somewhat romantic myself, I let him humor me with the story, she said, and her smile faded back into the contemplative expression they had first seen. And then he started describing this world to me, a place of machines and technology, a place of enormous structures and lands and people, unlike any I had ever seen. And I believed him. Why? Alex asked. Because I had dreamed about this place, Sleeping Beauty said. It's complicated, and even I don't understand it. But while I was under that horrible spell, I dreamed about the place he was describing. I dreamed about so many things, I had just assumed it had come from my imagination. I never imagined a word of it to anyone. I never mentioned a word of it to anyone, so I knew he had to be telling the truth. Did he ever return it? Alex asked, desperate to know. Did the spell work for him? Sleeping Beauty studied the twins' faces. You're from there, aren't you? She asked. And you're trying to find a way home. Alex and Connor didn't have to respond. She already knew it was true. She reached under one of the pillows on the bed and withdrew a metal spindle. The twins felt their spirits soar. There it is! The man had returned it. The spell must have worked for him. All I'm going to ask in return is that you return it as soon as you're done, Sleeping Beauty said, and handed it to Alex. As I'm sure you can imagine, it has sentimental value for me. The twins were beaming. Now they knew they were getting home. Now they knew getting home was a possibility, that they weren't trapped in the land of stories forever. We're just a couple of strangers, Alex said. Why are you being so kind to us? There are many things that are out of my control, Sleeping Beauty said, and her smile faded again. So I like to help as much as I can when I can. She stood and walked outside onto the balcony. The twins followed her. Although the kingdom wasn't in the best condition, the view was spectacular. Alex and Connor could see the entire kingdom and parts of others. The ocean sparkled in the distance, and a beautiful waterfall could be seen in the mountains nearby. It was so beautiful, they forgot how high up they were. This used to be the most beautiful of all the kingdoms, Sleeping Beauty said. The rolling green hills, the wild flowers, the rivers that used to flow, they're all just memories now. Even the natural beauty of this land was put to rest under that awful curse. Will things ever get better? Alex asked. I certainly hope so, Sleeping Beauty said. Can I tell you a secret? She asked the twins, receiving eager nods. I haven't slept since Chase awoke me with the kiss. The twins were shocked. Yikes, Connor said. You must be exhausted. After sleeping for a century, I'll be quite rested for a while, Sleeping Beauty said. I promised myself and I promised this kingdom that I wouldn't rest until it was restored to its original state. Had my parents just let me die, as the curse originally intended, none of this would have happened. So I'm prepared to spend the rest of my life, the life they ensured, making things right again. Alex and Connor felt sorry for the young queen. They'd always been so distracted by the thought of a cursed, sleeping kingdom that they'd never thought about the responsibility a monarch would face putting it back on its feet. I suppose that's why the wishing spell has always intrigued me, Sleeping Beauty said. It's proof that if someone wants something enough and they're willing to work for it, they can achieve great things. I keep the spindle as a reminder that even the worst curses cast by the most powerful enchantresses can eventually be overcome. The kingdom is very lucky to have a queen like you, Alex said. A weaker person would have given up. Try the rubber band trick, Connor told her. I promise you won't regret it. I will, Sleeping Beauty smiled. It's probably time you headed out. I may believe you, but convincing my husband and the royal advisor of your innocence won't be easy. Follow me. I know a secret way out of the castle. The twins left the castle feeling inspired by Sleeping Beauty. The fairy tale had always romanticized the bravery of the young prince and the horror of the curse that had been cast upon the land, but it had failed to mention what a strong and brave woman the Sleeping Beauty truly was. We will have to read about the Swan Princess next.